How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Guys, what night is it?
It's our favorite night.
It's Tuesday. Oh my gosh. Episode
67.
65.
Dang it.
You're getting ahead of yourself, buddy.
I am.
Episode 65.
65.
Of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here in Minnesota, as always, in warm, muggy, way outside of the box, Minnesota, here live in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. And Drew Estate wants to tell you about the launch of the latest addition to the Deadwood lineup, Leather Rose, to all retailers nationwide. Uniting with her sisters, Sweet Jane, Fat Bottom Betty, and Crazy Alice, the spicy Leather Rose is the boldest lady of the bunch. This 5x54 torpedo features a rich Maduro wrapper and proves to be the spiciest of the Deadwood family. Lighting up the Leather Rose will fill the room with her exotic aroma, plus the effortless draw will leave you longing for more.
Yeah.
The Deadwood Leather Rose is a 5x54 torpedo packaged in 24-count boxes and will be shipping in July. For more info, please visit drewestate.com.
She sounds naughty.
So, all right. I'm excited because this is something that you guys, if you've been watching for a while, you know that, you know, Garrett and I are both big baseball fans. We're sports fans in general. And, you know, last year especially, we were, you know, the Twins, Minnesota Twins had a great season. We had a chance to, talk about them a lot at the beginning of every show. And then this year when COVID happened, you know, there were a lot of things that we have to live without, but one of them, unfortunately, has been baseball. But finally, just last night, the Major League Baseball announced the schedule for the 60-game season. So I'm beyond excited about this. I watched the announcement. I saw everything on the Twins websites. So on July 24th, Minnesota opens the season in Chicago against the White Sox. And then we have a 60-game regular season, and we go all the way through until September 27th, when we end the season here in Minneapolis at Target Field against the Cincinnati Reds. So it's a very condensed season. There's very little, there's very little baseball, but we have to make the most out of it. So I encourage you guys, if you're baseball fans, honestly, even if you're not baseball fans, if you haven't seen a baseball game in many years, spend some time, go out to a ballpark and watch a live game. There's going to be different rules as far as, they're probably going to have, spaces between seats. They're not going to sell as many tickets, but in all this craziness that we've been going through over the last few months, it's been really tough to get out and do things. So find things, even if they're things that you wouldn't necessarily normally do, get out there and participate in a live event. If it's going to a baseball game and you're not really a baseball fan, I have a feeling by the time the game's over, you'll be a baseball fan. Just getting out into the fresh air and seeing people and participating as part of a crowd. Just get out there and do things, because I don't know about you, but I'm going a little crazy.
What?
Going a little crazy.
Yeah.
Starting to lose it. A little bit.
A little bit.
But
now, The Shining makes sense.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I can relate to that guy a little bit.
A little bit.
But thank God we have wonderful premium cigars. We have
swords.
We have friends.
And
we have
axes.
Beverages. So, we're grateful for that. So for those of you who are watching and listening on Facebook and YouTube, please take a minute, if you would, share us out to your favorite Facebook cigar groups. Participate tonight like you always do. Ask us questions along the way. Leave comments along the way. Troll us a little bit.
A little bit.
That's what we love. We want you guys to be involved in the conversation, as always. So let's bring on our special guest. And as always, our special guest is brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com. They are the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. And you'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. For more information on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special guest. We're really excited to have him on the show. He is coming to us live from Miami. He is the man, you know him, you love him, from Mombacho Cigars. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Claudio Sgroi.
Oh, what an introduction. Hi, guys.
Bienvenido.
How are you guys?
Doing well. How are you, Claudio?
It's hot and humid in Miami. Mosquitoes, size of helicopters. It's beautiful.
It sounds like we could literally be in the same environment. Even in Minnesota, that people think of for being cold, it's it's been above 85 degrees every day for the last 2 weeks. It's been above 90 degrees half of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the mosquito is the Minnesota state bird. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. Now I know.
But it's been a really crazy time. How are you? We talked a little bit before we went live, but what are you doing to stay sane during this crazy quarantine?
I'm good. My wife, my little kid, boy, 3 years old, doing great. Of course, adjusting a little bit to the daily life, but everybody's safe. We are taking care of us. Our family in Nicaragua, the factory, they are doing great. They are good and up and running. So trying to take care of everything and everybody that we cannot do actually, but trying to do that and trying to have a normal life. Again, adjusting a bunch of things. I cannot travel right now, for example. I travel a lot every year, but doing good. A lot of good spirit. So
yeah,
good. Let's tell everybody what we're smoking, and Claudio, in a second, we'll ask what you're smoking and you're drinking. But
this is actually a special cigar, and Claudio was very generous to send us some of these to smoke on the show tonight. But the Casa Favili, which is the namesake of the factory in Granada, Nicaragua, and this is a special cigar for us because you guys know, if you watch the show on a regular basis, if you've been a fan of the website since we launched, that we launched on February 1st of 2019. And this cigar was, before we started How About That Cigar, we had 6 or 7 cigars that were reviewed, and they were ready to just click on the publish button. And I had to decide which cigar was going to be the first ever cigar review published on howaboutthatcigar.com. And honestly, it was a flip of a coin, because they were all good cigars, and this is the cigar that won the coin flip. And this cigar got a 91 rating on howaboutthatcigar.com. It is the Casa Favili. Claudio, tell us a little bit about this cigar, because there is something about this that is definitely unique that you can't really find out there. So tell us about it.
I think everybody knows the famous earthy, powerful broadleaf from the United States. So a few years ago, I was looking to make a Maduro, because we are kind of missing in our different lines and series. A dark wrapper and Maduro wrapper. So I went around traveling a little bit and, trying San Andres, trying the, different wrappers. So one was one of the broadleaf from the United States. And I remember a few years ago when I went to Alapa to buy some of the tobaccos we already use, the tobacco farmer that makes our wrapper, Habano wrapper for our Tierra Volcan, gave me a sample of a wrapper, and he said, try this. This is new. Nobody's doing this. Let me know what you think. I was like, okay, what's this? He said that it's a broadleaf, but this broadleaf is made in Alapa, in Nicaragua. So for the first time, we made a cigar with a broadleaf that is growing in Nicaragua. Because when I tried the wrapper, I said that no matter what, forget the Maduro, whatever, I'm going to make a blend with this wrapper. So unique about the flavor, the character of the tobacco, the color. That I was like, let's do this.
Love it.
And there is something about it. You're totally right that because Connecticut broadleaf has a very unique characteristic, a very particular characteristic, and you know it when you smell it, you know it when you taste it.
Yes.
And even one of the things that I noted in the review is that this Nicaraguan broadleaf, it has its own character, and it's almost like a hybrid of what our American palates would consider, almost, to me at least, this is my palate. So it's almost as though it's a melding of Connecticut broadleaf and a Habano.
The earthy character of a broadleaf from Connecticut sometimes it can be so powerful on the blend that's going to overwhelm the entire blend. And you taste that earthiness that it's only from the broadleaf from Connecticut. That's why that wrapper is so unique. But in Jalapa, in Nicaragua, it lost a little bit of that earthiness, and it gained a little bit of sweetness from Jalapa, which is a region famous to give a certain kind of sweetness. And yes, as you said, this kind of new character that we didn't smoke before.
Yeah, it's really cool because that is true. That Jalapa is known for sweetness.
That's true.
That's so many different crops of tobacco that come from that region really are known for that sweetness. But there's always that little hint of Nicaragua that you can still taste the spice. It's not like Esteli spice, but it's still there. It's still there a little bit, and I love that about it.
Now the thing is, if you think of sweetness and spiciness, if you go from Jalapa, very north of the country, like south to Esteli, you go through Condega. So you have Jalapa, Condega, Esteli. So while you are driving down from Jalapa, you are losing sweetness and you are gaining spiciness down to Esteli. That is boom, no sweetness, spicy, rustic, strong. But I'm always a big fan of first of all Jalapa, but then the variety of tobaccos and the soil we have in Nicaragua. It's very unique on the planet. Come on, we have a red soil, a volcanic soil. We have a hard soil or soft soil. It's unbelievable what we can get from Nicaragua. That's why years ago we went for Tierra Volcana, Liga Maestro, and Casa Favilli. These are all series 100% tobaccos from Nicaragua. I was like, guys, it's made in Nicaragua by Nicaraguan people. It's the best country on the planet for tobacco. And more than everything, I always say, you want to have a true Nicaraguan experience, you should smoke a pure tobaccos from Nicaragua. And there you get the true soul of a country.
Yeah.
Well, Claudio, I just wanted to, so we have a viewer who just came into the show. They want to know a little bit about who you are and probably Mombacho. So could you take us through who Mombacho is, the kind of the history and your history with the brand?
Okay. Mombacho was founded in 2006 in Granada, Nicaragua. We are the only factory in Nicaragua that is not in Esteli. Esteli is the biggest, hub for cigar factories, let's call it like that. And we are in Granada. Granada is the oldest town that was built in the continent of America, right? America was discovered, Europeans, they say they discovered, but it was already there, discovered in the Caribbean. And then in the first Spanish settlement that was in Granada, Nicaragua, 1524. So my partners felt that spirit of history, heritage, and all these things around Granada, that they said that there is something special here. So they had this idea to share, with the others in the rest of the world, this experience that they had in Granada. So they founded the Mombacho, they started the Mombacho, and I jumped in the company as a partner in 2011, late 2011, because they wanted, to ramp up in quality, in blending, tobaccos, and many, many different details. and they were looking for someone that had a tobacco background and taking care of the blends, purchasing tobaccos, quality controls, and everything. So we get in contact, and in late 2011, they offered me to be partner on Mombacho. And in 2012, I moved from Miami, where I was already living. I moved to Nicaragua for 4.5 years, and now back and forth from Miami and Nicaragua. But my background started in 2001 in Dominican Republic. There I started in tobacco and cigars, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for the history. Would you remind or talk about what you're smoking and what you're drinking tonight?
Okay. This is something very different, very unique. This is called Diplomatico by Mombacho Cigars SA. So later last year, we made a partnership with Diplomatico Rum, which is an exquisite, very awarded brand of rum made in Venezuela. And we partnered doing something very unique. Actually, we started with a couple of events here around the United States, in cigar lounges. They were supporting us, and we were calling them, doing events. And then the conversation went deeper and deeper, saying, hey, guys, we should do something, a little bit more important and unique. So Imar, one of my partners, and Manny, the brand ambassador of Diplomatico, brought together, ideas, brainstorming, and everything, and we came up with the idea to make a cigar that was to be blended only for Diplomatico. So the idea was not making a cigar that it goes very well with rums, but it was drinking the rum, understanding the soul, the spirit, the character, the flavor, the stimulation of the rum, and making a blend that it goes perfectly paired with the rum. So it took a while, but I made that blend, really thinking about how is the rum, the aromas, the flavor, the stimulation, the experience you have. And we came up with this blend of Habano from Ecuador, and then binder and fillers all from Nicaragua. 3 different sizes, and so far it's been an extremely great, successful cigar, because people is realizing that it's not only a cigar blended that it goes with the rum, but it's a lot more.
Well, and it's a good thing to talk about pairing, because, and we've talked about it a little bit on the show, regardless of what the drink is you're pairing it with. It could be a coffee, it could be a rum, or anything. But sometimes, people, when people think of pairings, they think of similar flavors, but actually you want to think about contrast and things that fill in the missing pieces to sort of an overall flavor profile. So what did you notice in the rum that you knew you could incorporate from different tobaccos that would make a whole flavor profile?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm drinking a Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. Beautiful rum.
Yeah.
So you nailed the question of saying a contrast. Why you say contrast? I love that word, because when you go pairing, if you go for similarity, you smoke something sweet and you drink something sweet. That's easy. It's balanced, because who doesn't like sweetness? But when I started blending, then I said we should contrast the pairing, because if the rum is sweet, we should balance that sweetness with something spicy. And the cigar that is not sweet is going to get the sweetness from the rum. So the contrast is extremely complicated to get the balance between both. But that's the path that I have to take to blend the cigar to make the perfect pairing. Because for me, the pairing with rum, Diplomatico, and Mombacho cigars wasn't something, easy to smoke, happy hour. No, guys. This is extremely complex. The complexity of the rum, I have to make a cigar that is complex. The rum has that sweet character. Let's put some spiciness to cut a little bit the sweetness and to make a balance in the mouth that otherwise you cannot have with a sweet cigar and a sweet rum. So
Yeah.
it was that was the main idea, blending the cigar. That it was again the difficult thing to do, but I went there and it took time. But guys, the balance. So think this: word is a pairing, because we should even talk about that word, not only contrast or similarity. The word pairing. The pairing is something that it goes well with a wine, I don't know, a whiskey, a rum, whatever we're going to drink. Okay? But now, if they are so similar together, you are not pairing. You are putting together, right? Sweet and sweet. I mean, it is sweet, right? But when you are going to pair something, you want to have a unique experience. And that's what I was looking for. Now, there is a lot of personal involvement of any smoker on a pairing, because I love rum pairing with cigars. So you maybe drinking bourbon, you love cigars. That's very personal. But technically, that's another word, another level. So that's that's why I went so deep into the word pairing and by contrast.
Yeah. And I think I agree with you. I think that's important because there are and that's also one of the things that makes it great is the possibilities are endless. You know, from if you just look at, let's just take Nicaragua, for example. Yeah. Take only tobaccos grown in Nicaragua, and you know, all the different blends that could be made from those tobaccos grown in that one country. And then take all the different spirits that are out there and coffees that are out there and different things that are out there. And, you know, putting those combinations together, and everybody has, this is another great part about it, is everybody has a different palate, and everybody, some people like a lot of spice, some people don't, some people like to mix it up. And that's one of the coolest parts about it is the possibilities are endless, and you can have the same cigar with different types of drinks for weeks in a row, and always have a different smoking and combining experience.
I agree, 100%. You know, awesome what you said, and I will add a couple of things. I have 3 perfect pairings for me. The ultimate for me is Roman cigars. And there is a cultural heritage explication of that as well. It's coming from the same soil, the same weather, temperature, and sun, the same people working that land. So it is good. It has to be good.
Yeah.
Right? Then, cigars and champagne. Not many people talked about that. I can tell you. It's one of the most
that's something I've never tried.
Mind-blowing experience. Now, get a good champagne. Don't get a commercial kind of champagne that champagne just because it's made in the region of Champagne. Get a true champagne, right?
Okay.
There is very good champagne that is not very expensive. Those bubbles, okay, that are going to clean your palate, and the persistency of the taste of champagne when it's good with a cigar, that's very unique. The third one.
What's the other one?
Yeah, the third one, I've been many times to China. Okay, Mombacho was there a few years ago. We had awesome trips and, you know, traveling in China. One of the most beautiful pairings has been with tea. Cigars and tea. And I remember, it is not Chinese, I mean, technically, a tea that is called oolong.
Oolong tea, thank you.
From Taiwan. With cigars, that's killer.
That I agree, and Garrett and I both agree with that.
100%.
Yeah, it goes really, and I am absolute. That is on my list this week. I'm going to go out and get a good quality bottle of champagne and try it with some different cigars, because, and it makes sense because when I review a cigar, I try to keep my palate free from anything else. So I don't drink coffee or whiskey or anything. I drink either still water or sparkling water. You're right that the bubbles, it helps to clean and cleanse the palate, and just so you're free to just taste everything going on in the cigar. but I can see where champagne would heighten that experience with also the flavor of the grape along with that the bubbles.
It's awesome. I mean, I remember in 2000, what was that? Maybe 2003, when I came back from Dominican Republic and I started to work in Europe. I had the privilege, and I have to say privilege, to have a pairing with cigars and champagne. The champagne was a Dom Perignon, but not only because of the champagne. The maître de chai, that means the champagne maker of Dom Perignon, was there for the tasting.
Ooh,
and
wow.
when you have those legends talking to you, man, I was in paradise. Oh boy, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I think rum and cigars, as far if you're going to pair a spirit with cigars, I think I agree with you that rum is the perfect spirit pairing, because, and a lot of wine people say this, because I'm a little by little starting to get into wine and learn about wine.
Okay.
And one of the things I'm learning is that a lot of wine people say what grows together goes together. Yes. And tobacco and sugarcane grow in a lot of the same places, and they're very similar climates, similar regions, whether it's Cuba, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic. What grows together goes together, and I genuinely believe there's something about rum and cigars that, like you said earlier, the contrast and combinations of flavors that the things that are missing in a flavor profile on a cigar, the rum makes up for and fills those spots in, and vice versa.
Exactly. And going a little bit deeper on that, maybe we stay too much into flavors, into aromas. Okay, we don't talk too much about stimulations. So when you have a perfect pairing like rum and cigars, or for me champagne and cigars, that's all about not only the symbiosis of the aromas, it's the stimulation in your mouth, your palate, your gums, your throat, into your nose. There is a lot of stimulation. And then those have been translated by your brain into flavors, into aromas, but the stimulation, it's an extremely important part of the tasting.
Yeah, very true. This is something we normally do earlier in the show, but we got into this great topic and I loved it. But one thing I want our viewers to get a little picture of our guests, as far as what it was like for you the first time that you sat down and fired up a premium hand rolled cigar, and what your experience was like, whether it was good or bad.
Okay.
We got a comment, I can tell.
I can tell.
That it goes back to the first day that I stepped inside of the cigar industry. So for the ones who are listening and they don't know me, I started in May 18, 2001 in Dominican Republic. I was already living there because I moved from Turkey, where I lived a couple of years, to Dominican Republic in August of 2000. And I started there a job. I was an Italian teacher, and I was a translator and interpreter because I speak a couple of languages. So for me, it's very easy, the languages, and I started that career. So in early May 2001, a beautiful Olga Estrella, beautiful Dominican lady, called me saying, I would need a translator that speaks Spanish, English, and French to translate a conference in Italian. I was like, okay, I can do that. I speak those languages. I'm, mother tongue Italian, so I'm a translator. I can do that. And I asked her what's about the conference or seminars. She said it's about tobacco and cigars. I'm like, oh. So I don't smoke cigars, so I don't really know if I know the dictionary, all the words involved. She was like, no worries. We are getting a group of Italian tobacconists that are coming into Dominican Republic to visit the cigar factory, plantation. You should stay with the guys and the people of the company to translate them to the Italians. And the company was Davidoff. So the first day I show up, these guys are from Italy, happy to see me, an Italian. And they had a seat in this beautiful room in a beautiful hotel in Santiago de los Caballeros, Dominican Republic. So I started my translation. And, the worldwide ambassador Davidoff was there, giving the welcome to everybody. And then Enki Kellner, I think everybody knows who's Enki these days, is maybe one of the few true legends on the planet about tobacco.
Yeah.
And he started talking. And Enki was like, the cigar, his deep voice was like, oh, I want to be like this guy. So with that in mind, I spent the entire day translating. At the dinner, they said you have to sit beside Henki because people are going to ask a lot of questions. So stay beside Henki. So I had my seat, and we started dinner. We had a couple of drinks, and then, of course, cigars were passing around, and I took one cigar. And I said, Enki, I smoking this cigar. What should I smell? Chocolate, coffee? Never smoked a cigar in my life before that. It was like, I was listening and translating him. It was like a coffee, chocolate, and he goes like, Claudio, just shut your mouth and listen to the cigar. I was like, okay, let me smoke. That was my first cigar ever in my life.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
And how was it?
I stayed 9 years with Davidoff. Then I worked 2.5 in Dominican Republic, 2.5 years with them in Switzerland. Then I went back to Italy for 3.5 years with them. Then I left the company, and then I moved to Miami. I was a consultant for a few years in the industry. Miami, all the brands are pretty much based in Miami. Mm-hmm. And actually, Mombacho was one of my consultancy that I did that period. And then we can talk later more about Mombacho, but that was my first cigar. And I can tell you, I cannot say I liked or not because I was like a puff and then translating and what do you say? What are you asking? So it was kind of very easygoing or not, thinking about smoking my first cigar.
Yeah.
But that thing the Enki said to me, I was like, okay, yeah, I got it.
So that in my head, I'm thinking that's the equivalent of the first time you ever drive a car.
Yeah.
Mario Andretti is sitting right next to you.
And he's teaching you the gears.
Teaching you how to drive. It doesn't get any better than that.
Actually, you don't drive the Ferrari drive.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to mention that Enki is my mentor. I call him Dad when I see a couple of times during the year around the world. And, it was like, Claudio, I know you like this. Come with me. And those are memories that I will never forget. And I can tell you, I've been so lucky to have as my mentor one of the legends, true legends on this world that I'm like speechless every time I talk about Enki.
Well, and real quick, I just want to update people on this beautiful cigar. It is a dense wrap. It is a beautiful, beautiful wrapper that is flawless, and the burn is perfect. If you've been watching Matt and I smoking it, there's a ton of great smoke output, and this is you can just tell when you're an inch and a half in the construction and the quality of a cigar, and the quality is a 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I would say that blending the cigars, it's a Mombacho. We want to have a very particular experience. Okay. So if we talk about evolution, you can have a cigar that I call flat. It's from the beginning to the end, quite the same thing. Beautiful. Then you have those cigars that they can start very slowly, and then they pick up toward the end. Then we have Mombacho, and many other cigars as well, but they are blending in a way that the very beginning, it's just that little punch saying, knocking the door, hey guys, this is a Mombacho. Then you have that little puff in the beginning. It's like, oh, what? Especially with Casa Favilli, with that very particular flavor of the broadleaf from Nicaragua. Then the cigars, they turn into a more smooth, creamy, and they change a lot of the flavors. And then at the end, they pick up again. There is a reason why behind that. But I love those cigars that they have this evolution, that they change a lot. They entertain you. Mm-hmm. They give you that experience from the beginning to the end, that it's like engaging. The cigar is telling you something, and it's changing what it's saying in the first third, the second, and the last one.
Yeah. And that actually is a really great segue into this next question. And it's something that we've talked to a lot of people about from blending and cigar factory experience, like you. Yeah. So from on the whole, cigar making, premium cigars, for the most part, mm-hmm. around the world, whether it's Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic, Cuba, for the most part, things are the same as far as their tobacco leaves that are grown, primed, cured, fermented, and then rolled into cigars. Mm-hmm. But I like hearing from everybody about because every company has little differences that set them apart from the rest. And I've been fortunate enough to visit Casa Favilli and the factory in person and see it. And I've also been fortunate enough to see a lot of other factories. And there are differences that I noticed when I was at your factory.
Yes.
So tell our viewers a little bit about some of the things that set Mombacho apart from just the everyday, like I said, leaves that are cut, cured, fermented, and rolled. There are differences, and tell us about those.
First of all, when you step inside Granada, you really feel back in time, 250 years ago, where those beautiful colonial factories that we have in our pictures, rolling cigars. That's the first feeling. More than that, when you step inside the Casa Favilli, that is 100 years old, pure colonial style, you don't only feel that history, but you are inside that history. Our factory is the mansion of the most famous architect in the last century in Nicaragua. By the way, an Italian that came early. I think he arrived in Nicaragua in 1922. And in 1925, he was an architect, a sculptor, very famous. He built the first presidential palace in Nicaragua. So he built his mansion in Granada. So that style is there. And we are into a building that we own. That building we purchased in 2014. So lucky to get the building. And it's classified the monument in town. So it is not only the history, it's certified it's a monument. Not only because it was the mansion of Favilli, but because of the meaning of history. And the idea of Mombacho was to have cigars rolled in a place like they were rolled 250 years ago. For example, another thing, we don't use, that manual machine that you roll cigars. Okay, I said manual machine. It's not a machine. It's manual. That he has the rollers. We don't use that because we roll totally by hand. And that's the way that we were made 150 years ago, right? Then all the details of production, the temperatures, the humidities, the quality controls are made in a way that in each blend we create the Favilli, we have the Mombacho signature as well, okay? And I can tell you, I just marked one of the Diplomaticos. In each of the bands, in the back, there is the date when the cigars are rolled. We age the cigars what do you have? September 19. Matt, what do you
Yeah.
have? The same?
Yes.
Same batch.
Yeah.
There we go. And we age the cigars minimum 6 months before to be packed, because I truly believe that the 6 month is the perfect timing to have that secret symbiosis between the tobaccos to give your stimulation flavors, and each of the details. All those things are made in a spectacular place. So that's what Mombacho is making very different in the industry so far. We are not in Esteli, as I said. We are in Granada. It's many little details that make Mombacho, because we are redefining the word boutique. Boutique is not only about the size. Boutique,
Mhm.
Right.
Guys, this is boutique.
Yes.
Yep.
I bet you how many brands that they put the date when the cigars were rolled in the back of the rings. So many of those details, that's boutique. Boutique, it's a way to work. It's a way to create. It's a way to craft things. And that word is coming from France. So boutique, we think is small because boutiques are small. The space is small, right? But
Yeah.
it's a lot more than just the size of production or the place or the number of people working in a factory. Of course, even myself, after 20 years, step inside a factory with 2,000 people or 300 pair of rollers rolling, I get impressed. But we are not doing less things than a factory that they have 300 pair of rollers.
And there's also a little bit of a difference, and this is something that I found really interesting when I was there, is the storage where the cigars age before they're banded and boxed and shipped. There's something. Tell us about the uniqueness of that storage space that the cigars are kept in.
So the aging room, what we call the aging room, it's a room that we keep the cigars to age. Okay. Because aging cigars, it's a process. We're not keeping there. We are not resting the cigars for a little bit. We are pushing the cigars to age. So when I built that room, because the Casa Faville wasn't a cigar factory before Mombacho, it was a private mansion. So I had, the fortunate, I was so lucky that I create each of the spaces as I was picturing to have a cigar factory in my dreams, right? Not in my mind, in my dreams. So that room, first of all, we painted with a special paint that doesn't have any odor and it doesn't get any mold. Then we wrapped completely the entire room with a cedar from Nicaragua that is called the Cedro Macho. In the family of cedars, so you have many different cedars. And we have still the common, picture or idea that the Spanish cedar is the best to keep the cigars as a humidor, that stuff. But the Spanish cedar has a very strong smell. So I picked the Cedro Macho Nicaraguense from Nicaragua because it doesn't have any smell. Because I said that if I had that design, I designed the blend, we created that, all the quality controls and everything, and then I get the smell from a wood, that's a contamination for me. So zero contamination from the wood. Then the system, it's a reverse osmosis that is cleaning the water. So we have a pure water without minerals, no chlorine, nothing, that is injected by a misting pump into a line with nozzles. So when the nozzles are spraying with a very high pressure, it's 1,000 psi, the microns are so small that it evaporates after maybe 20 inches from the nozzle. So if you want to, you have that humidity that you don't see, you don't touch, you don't even feel. When it's humid, you feel humidity. In the room, you don't feel that because it evaporates so fast. And we have always 21.5 Celsius and 63% of humidity, 63, 64. Zero contamination from the outside. Even the water, it's like distilled water. We distill the water through the osmosis. And it took me like almost 3 months to build that aging room.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that struck me about being in that room is when those nozzles turned on, you could hear them, but you couldn't see. It wasn't like like a lot of times you see a humidor. If you're in a humidor at a cigar shop, if their humidifier kicks on, you see these massive clouds of water vapor in the air. And in your aging room, you can hear the nozzles kick on, but you can't see anything.
That's awesome.
So that was really striking.
Remember that I was saying aging. That's why that room is extremely complicated and technical. There is a lot of technique there to have that temperature and because the aging is a process. So during the aging process, the cigars are breathing and they're interacting with the environment. So you have to give a certain environment, certain temperature, certain humidity, to have that breath going very slow and purging the little ammonia you have. You didn't smell any ammonia in that room. I bet you didn't.
Right. Not in that room. No.
Exactly. Because the ammonia, it was in process. So we got the cigars at the point that now they got to breathe. They got to purge just a little bit of extra, irritant things that can still have in the blend. But more than that, that symbiosis between tobaccos that you can have only with certain temperature and humidity. That room is not getting the cigars a couple of months to dry and then packing and shipping. We age them, which is 100% different than keeping cigars for drying a little bit or other things.
Yeah.
So Claudio, since 2001, when you were really introduced into the cigar industry, to now, you have a huge amount of knowledge and experience in the cigar industry in a very short period of time. Can you give us a kind of a snapshot of that process between 2001 and today and what that has meant for you?
Whoa.
It's a big, I know.
Let's put on aside for a moment the mentors, because I had several mentors. I had the one in tobacco, Enki. I had the others in business, and that kind of, let's step between, Dominican Republic and Geneva. Dominican Republic, I was working and learning, smoking, going in the fields, going to the factories. At the end, I was selling cigars. I was selling Davidoff in Dominican Republic. And then they asked to go to Geneva to work at the Davidoff shop in Geneva, which is the shop where Zino Davidoff, a founder of Davidoff Cigars, worked his entire life. So if you want, it was so different that I cannot even compare that. I was young. I was like so in love and passionate about this. I was like, let's go. Let's do this. So in Geneva, another awesome experience. But from that, the progression went even faster. Because after 2.5 years, Davido said, do you want to get back to your country in Italy to be brand manager of the entire portfolio of Davidoff? I was like, wait. What's going on here, right? So I was, I didn't even think. I was like, yes, I'm going. I don't know. I've never been a brand manager. I was like this, speechless. So progression went very, very fast. So in the first 9 years of my experience, of my career, if you want, I went from one seed of tobacco down to brand manager, sales, managing 80 people in the team in Italy. I was just like, wow. That's why when I stepped out of Davidoff, I said, actually a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, said that you have a knowledge that it's pretty rare in 9 years to touch all these things like you did and like you like to do. You should be a consultant. And I was like, you know what? This is true. Because I touched production, blending, everything. But my passion has been always tobacco, blending, quality control, creating, all those things. So that's why in my consultancy job, I was back to blending, I was back to tobacco, new sizes and new cigars, different projects. And Mombacho was like a purely, blending, quality control, and those things. Because when I met Mombacho, we made a little contract of 3 months. I was going with Cam and Marcus, the founders, down there, seeing the factory. So at the very end, I was been in this career like crazy fast. It's been so. These days, I'm sitting here and I think about, look, you were 25 years old. You are driving by yourself in Dominican Republic, selling Davidoff in the country. Your mother didn't know if you were living in Santo Domingo in Dominican Republic. And I was like, Mama, it's the same thing. It's the same country. Dominican Republic is the country. Santo Domingo is the capital. And I was like, I didn't even think about how much I risked in my life with working in different countries, having position that today I was like, wow, I was brand manager of Davidoff at 27 years old in Italy for 9 brands of Davidoff. And then my partners at Mombacho, they went like, you have to be our partner. We don't want to have a consultant. And you are the tobacco guy, go for it. I was like still amazed about this. And I always say very lucky because the mentors I had in my career are like truly legends. Okay.
Yeah.
But I would say I always risked a lot. Always.
Well, and I mean, like you said, that first 9 years, especially, we use the term. I don't know if this is a term you're familiar with, but we use the term "drinking from the fire hose."
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's taking in scores and scores of information in a very short period of time. But it shows that you actually took that information in, and you actually did, because a lot of people, sadly, and it could be cigars or any field, any business, any type of art in the world, you can have people who are surrounded by great mentors who just don't take in the information.
Mm-hmm.
But you took in the information.
I think one of the best advice the Enki gave me was like, Claudio, you got to be curious. I was like, what do you mean? It was like, don't ask yourself if the cigar tastes spicy, and if it's pepper, black pepper, pink pepper, ask why it is spicy. And then you go into what kind of spice it is. That's a little example to say that it was like, be curious. If you are curious, you learn. If you don't ask questions to yourself, you don't learn. You are listening. And then if you do not have memory, you don't retain, so you are not learning. It has been back and forth between risking, mentors, traveling. I'm not mentioning the passion I have, because, man, after 20 years, if I didn't have passion, I wasn't sitting here enjoying a cigar with you and all the guys listening to me and to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you to spend a little time talking about this great project, the Cosecha project, because it's a project that I think is so important. I think it's so cool when you can, because like we mentioned a little bit ago, you can take tobaccos just from Nicaragua, just from from that country, but you look at all the different regions and all the different years that the tobaccos are grown and things like that. But the Cosecha project is important, I think, because it relies on a specific calendar year. So tell us about that project, and also specifically about the one that's going to be released very soon.
So I think you were mentioning wine and those things that you like. You're getting more and more involved with wine. I'm a huge lover of wine. I do not have the knowledge of a sommelier or those things, but I like to enjoy a glass of wine. So I was so intrigued by one thing. In the wine world, there is the vintage. Okay, and they can put the year, on the labels and saying that this is a vintage. Why they do that? Because in the bottle of wine, even though it's a blend, it's from the same country, okay, and all the grapes are from the same year crop. So different grapes, but if on the label there is, I don't know, 1999, all the grapes are 1999.
Yeah.
And I said, the cigar industry, how many limited edition, reserva, vintage, limited here, private reserve, this and that, but how many did something like in the wine industry? How many of my colleagues made a cigar from tobaccos from one country, all of them the same year crop, and every year they're doing that, okay? And I say that because when we blend cigars, we use different years of crop because, of course, Mother Nature, we gotta play, we gotta blend because the goal is blending to have at the end the same result, even though the blend is not mathematical the same. That's my job, right? You smoke right now at Casa Favilli today, in 3 years should taste the same. And I use different tobaccos, right? But in wine, they have that true vintage. So in 2012, I remember going around the shopping tobaccos in Nicaragua and said that, you know what, we should make a true vintage. True vintage like in wine. So the first cosecha, that translated in English, it means crop. It's a Mombacho Cosecha 2012 that we released 4 years ago. Why? Because all the tobaccos in that cigar are from Nicaragua and are from 2012. Then we released 2013, then 14, and we are shipping in these days Cosecha 2015. Now, what's the difference there? It's like in wine vintage. Why a Chateau Lafite 1976 is not good, and in 1978 cost $1 million a bottle?
Yeah.
So for me, was giving you the experience of the true vintage of Nicaragua of that year. So, for example, 2015, the crop was, weather was pretty dry, not a lot of rain. Tobaccos were strong. So 15 is the strongest of the cosecha because that crop was the strongest between 12, 13, 14, 15. 13, oh boy, that sweetness, the cacao, dry fruits, that was 2012. It was pretty medium because it wasn't a strong crop. And I can tell you more. There is not a vintage cosecha 2016. Why? It was a very weird year. For me, it's not making every year the cosecha. For me, it's giving you the experience and the true knowledge of that cosecha, of that crop, that vintage.
Yeah.
So it wasn't good. I couldn't get the blend that was satisfying. So I skipped the 16, and we already made 2017. The cigars, they age for 3 years minimum. 2012, I aged for 4 years. They have a very long period of aging, and it's just something, these days, I'm like, why you are making this is so difficult and every year, and now they are asking for more and more. And I can tell you, we make always between 4,000, 5,000 cigars. It's a true limited edition vintage, right?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't make it 16, but in the year where Cosecha 16 should be out, it's our 15th anniversary, and we have a different thing there. I cannot say anything now.
Okay. Well, and that actually ties into what we talked about a little bit ago with champagne, and this is another thing I learned about with wine that I never knew is for say a Cabernet or a Merlot or a Chardonnay, you'll have a vintage for every year, but champagne's not that way. True champagne, they only have vintages for years that were worthy of producing a vintage for that year. So you're saying basically, so there won't be a Cosecha 2016 because the tobaccos that year they just weren't worthy of making a.
Now I cannot say the tobaccos were not good, right?
Okay.
But to get the spirit of that crop into a cigar was like, no, guys, this is not the spirit. And it was the beginning of the crop. It was very rainy. Then it was very dry. Then it rained again at the very end. Was very weird. So but that's the idea. If you think about the champagne, it's called the Salon. Salon champagne. Make a Salon only in the vintages that they think is the best of the best. That's it.
Yeah, and
Now,
that's why I agree.
You don't know how many guys there are like, do you have more boxes of Cosecha 13 or you can make more? Like, I'm sorry, when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, yeah, and it is a special cigar, and I've been fortunate to smoke one or more of each year of the Cosecha project, and they really are unique experiences. It's not the same cigar. They're unique experiences, and they really are. Like you said, you used the word snapshot. It's a snapshot of what the crop was like that you got to select from during that particular year, and that's what makes the project a lot of fun. I think even for the consumer, because they get to buy that box of Cosecha each time it comes out and experience what the difference is, from one crop year to the next. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true. I agree, and I cannot hide that. And I said that my inspiration was wine and champagne in that vintage mindset. That when you find something so special, you gotta make it vintage. But the true meaning of vintage, again, this is not only a limited edition, a reserve. This is a lot more. Even my partners said the very beginning, really, we are doing this, and then you age it for 3 years. And one of my partners, Marcus, was like, yes, this is something we have to do. Because nobody did that before.
So I want to know a little bit about, because you're really deeply involved, not just with Mombacho, but with the premium tobacco industry as a whole in Nicaragua.
Yes.
And give us a little bit of an idea of what the state of things is like right now, as far as, because obviously things had to be shut down for a period of time. Most factories are running again. But what are things like from an industry standpoint with premium tobacco in Nicaragua?
Okay, let me say that, I since January, I'm the president of the Nicaraguan Tobacco Chamber. That is not an honor. It's like a dream to be, they are representing the monsters of Nicaragua, like big names. Like, I don't want to name one because then I have to name everybody. But, la creme de la creme of Nicaragua is inside this beautiful association that is called the Nicaraguan Tobacco Chamber. And since I'm the president, so I have, if you want a deep, insight about Nicaragua and what's going on right now. So of course, COVID, very difficult, but we get ready, and the prevention, and I should say that all the members are spending money, time, effort, education, and everything, to preserve the health and the our people working there. This is beautiful to see. And on the other side, more I'm in Nicaragua, more I see Nicaragua, the progression of the country, more I say the future of cigars is in Nicaragua. The soil of Nicaragua, it is unique on the planet. The people working there, the seeds that we use, the knowledge that we have today, and the culture that we are creating day by day since decades in Nicaragua, it's unique. It's unique on the planet. I should say we are the first manufacturer on the planet of premium cigars. Excuse me. So we are the first country. 15 years ago, we were not the first. And we are far away from the first. But in these days, we are the first, and I want to say premium cigars. From Nicaragua, you can expect the best of the best, because again, the soil, the country, the history, the weather, the people, everything in Nicaragua. When you go through Esteli, you smell tobacco. You see people around smoking, and the factories. It's if you want to understand what it is, the cigar industry today, go to Esteli, come to visit us in Granada, and go to Nicaragua. It's a magnificent country.
It really is, and I've been fortunate to be there a couple times. And that is part of it that you mentioned, is people going to these countries and going to the cigar factories. People like us who really are interested in premium cigars, and having a chance to go to some of these factories, and a lot of places are, around the world, gradually starting to open things up again. So do you think there's a future for that coming up soon again in Nicaragua, where you're going to see cigar tourism, for lack of a better term, start to ramp up again?
Honestly, I think it's going to take a little bit more time than a normal touristic country. That could be, I don't know, a European country, other stuff. But that's in general in Nicaragua. But for the cigar tourism, I think, yes, we're going to be back to normal life, and even more very, very soon. Because after this, the people want to get back enjoying life, smoking a cigar, visiting a cigar factory, experiencing the culture, the food, the tobacco plantation, everything. And I think we will be ready more than ever to receive back people, to open our doors. In Mombacho, for example, we give tours to everybody. You do not have to be from the cigar industry to visit our factory. We have been, in 2017, we received 2,000 people visit our factory, even tourists. We have a tour guide. You take a tour, 45 minutes, and you go through the entire process. That's what we do in Nicaragua. It's not only Mombacho. Many factories, they do that. Because we realized that the education is the best thing we can do. So we open the doors, call us, call Mombacho. We, when we will be ready, again, doors will be open, and go there.
Yeah. It really is a great thing to see. So I encourage everybody, when you're able to, get down to Nicaragua and visit these people and see this process with your own eyes, because it really is. It gives you such a deep appreciation for, these products that we enjoy so much.
And Matt, it's not only the respect. It's like you realize how difficult it is to have a premium cigar.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, now I understand. Because many times we pass around cigars. This is made here. This is made there. You don't know how many people are sitting there every day with the think in mind. Okay, let's make this unique. That's
right.
It.
Yeah. So this is one thing that I like to ask everybody, because, although, those of us who have kids, we would never choose a favorite child because we love all our kids equally. But you've got a lot of different blends and a lot of different, brands that come from the Mombacho Cigar Factory. Can you choose a favorite, the one that you say to yourself, I smoke this cigar every day, and it's a cigar that I couldn't do without?
Very tough question.
I know.
Tough question, because I have a cigar for the morning, maybe the afternoon, maybe before an happy hour. But if I should pick my favorite, Liga Maestro Hermoso, Liga Maestro 6x46.
Yeah,
that's a masterpiece, because of the size, because of the blend, because of the concentration of flavors, but maybe because there is a lot of the technical aspect of my job in that cigar that I recognize, or it gets in my mind. But right now I'm smoking a Tierra Volcan Fino. It's at 6x44. So ringages from 44 up to 50. That's my ringage first. Then should say Liga Maestro Hermoso, Tierra Volcan Clásico, Casa Favilli Robusto. I think you smoke the Robusto, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the sweet spot is Cosecha.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Liga Maestro Hermoso, anytime, anywhere, can't get enough.
Yeah. All right. So Claudio, we're going to shift gears and we're going to move into a segment we call the smokabulary word. It's a vocabulary word that's specific to us cigar nerds out there in the world who love premium cigars. Okay. And guys, as always, smokabulary is brought to you by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez are managed under the watchful eye of Mr. Fernandez himself in order to ensure superior quality. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of premium cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer, whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So, this week's smokabulary word is, and Claudio, you're going to know this word, and I'm going to ask you to chime in on this one. This week's smokabulary word is fuma.
Okay.
And so fuma, some people call it a tabacchiato. So a little, and you did a tasting with us at the Nicaraguan Cigar Festival a couple of years ago. The little cigars that are rolled with one type of tobacco leaf, and then you mix those, and you taste a little puff off of this one, a little puff off the Viso, a little puff off the Ligero, a little puff off the Seco, and a lot of blenders use those to get an idea of what the different primings of tobacco leaves taste like, and working on different blends, and it's something I learned a little bit about from you, a little bit about from some other people in the industry. So give us an idea about those little fumas, those little just a couple leaves rolled up, just to give you an idea of the characteristics of that leaf.
You said everything. What you want me to say? You explained everything.
That's because you taught me so well.
Okay, let me play a little bit to the Italian teacher. Fuma is coming from the verb fumar, Spanish, or fumare in Italiano. So fuma, it means smoke. Okay, it's a smoke. Yeah. But why we associate that to those little cigars? Because it's just smoke. It's not a blend. It's not a cigar, if you want, right? So technically we call them perritos, little dogs.
Okay.
So fuma is not very common in a factory. Maybe in some factory, it's okay. But have been around in different countries, we call perritos. But that's fine. That's okay. So the fuma, it's the priming of tobacco that you try pure grade, should I say? Is that correct in English?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The grade, it's the priming. It's purely Seco or Viso, Ligero, and those things.
Yeah.
So when we build the blend, what we do is going and understanding each of the priming we want to use in the blend, what they bring into the blend, what they add to the blend, or what mess they make in the blend, because that's the case too. So, for example, we take 2, 3, 4 leaves of Seco, and we make a little tube with leaves only Seco. So in there we smoke and we analyze the taste, the flavor, persistency, balance, bitterness, a lot of things, roughness, stimulation. I can keep going on. So and then Viso, and then Ligero, and then we start building that blend. You can build from the wrapper. You have a wrapper. Like I did for Casa Favilli. I want to use only this, no matter what. So I built binder and filler and the entire blend around the wrapper. Or I can start with a couple of fillers that I feel that they are, spectacular. So I build that from the filler. It really depends on what you are doing and what kind of tobaccos you have. But yes, the Fuma, it's that little cigar with a grade priming, pure one priming, and you smoke that. And then you keep going with the other primings, and then you start the blend and those things. Yeah, it's not always so nice, I can tell you. When 8:30 o'clock in the morning, you smoke a Ligero, like a pure grade Ligero from Esteli. Well, get ready. Or maybe you should have a bathroom really, really beside your office or where you're smoking. I can tell you.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that I think the blending process is so important and so misunderstood, because when you sit down, I mean, you smoke a blend like this Casa Favili or any blend out there that's respected in the cigar world. You taste all those flavors together and you smell all those aromas together and all those textures and all that. But when you could take one leaf out of there and smoke it, and there are a lot of leaves that if you smoke it on its own, it's terrible.
It is
on its own, just to smoke one particular, it's terrible. But then
I said to say terrible. Sometimes it's nasty. I mean, nasty.
Yeah. And that's why the blending process to me is just so, it's almost miraculous in a way, because to take a leaf that you take just one or two little puffs off of, and you think it's horrible, but then you start combining it with other leaves from different primings, different varieties of tobacco, different seeds, different all this, and regions. And the next thing you know, when you put the work into it, there's a blend that is cohesive and that makes sense and that touches all the different areas of your palate. And I think in the end, the blending process, when a blend comes out that's really good, it's almost a miracle, because sometimes the leaves on their own are just not good.
I thanks to Enki that he invented that. I do a lot of those, seco, viso, ligero, and then a normal cigar with those tobaccos that went through the entire, quality control process at the factory, been aging, everything. Why I do that? When you smoke the seco, the viso, and the ligero, you understand two things. First of all, the taste. Remember, the taste is here. Okay? Through this, you get the aromas. You combine both and you have a savor. So first of all, remember that the first impact that you have from the smoke is here. So you understand what kind of sweetness, bitterness, sourness, and saltiness has each of the different tobaccos. Okay? So if you don't want to make a cigar that is very, very bitter, for example, you don't put three leaves of one tobacco that is very bitter, just a little bit, to have a little bit of bitterness. Because for tastes, if it's not bitter, you lost 25% of the taste. So you want to have, and for example, myself, a big fan of 360-degree stimulation. So everywhere, if I'm missing bitterness, I'm missing, right? So you really understand the path that you go from a little bit of sweet, a little bit of this, then you go into the stimulation. It is clean, it is creamy, it's not rustic, it doesn't give you that thing here in your throat, it's not spicing your gums. Then the aromas. And I always say, aromas, guys. Oh my God. When I'm talking about aromas, just put some nice, comfortable, sweet, or even funky aroma. But man, if it smells like a cow, smell like a cow. A cigar, it's unique. It smells cow, but boy, smell cow for an hour and a half, maybe too much, right? That's maybe my personal taste, but a cigar, it's an experience, okay? It is not something only funky, or the uniqueness is so difficult to achieve. The man constantly, every day, I'm thinking about that. My philosophy in blending is aroma balance, persistency. It's not complicated. Aromas has to be nice. Some honey, coffee beans, or even pepper, but nice. Then the balance, which is the balance between the strength, physiological strength of the cigar, if it gets you like knocked out, or the strength of the aromas. If a coffee bean, it's almost impossible to smell and to feel. It's like there is no strength there. So balance between that. A lot of flavors supported by the strength. Balance. Then persistency. How many extremely good cigar, so you are smoking. Then after 10 minutes, so you're like, what did I smoke?
Yeah.
That there is no persistency of flavor. I can translate in aftertaste or a long finish, whatever you want to call it. Okay, but that's persistency of the taste, right?
Yeah.
You combine those three, you have complexity, or a cigar that is complex. Now, you both guys, you can go to the factory with me right now. You make a blend, raw cigars. That's a good cigar, right? To make
Let's do it.
that complexity, man, it's a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because there is so many variables and so many things to understand. It's not only about flavor. It's not only about strength. It's a million of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, should we?
I think we should.
All right, let's move into this week's Numero de los Muertos.
What's that? You're scaring me now.
Oh, you'll see.
Oh, it's fun. You guys, this week's Numero de los Muertos is brought to you by Oveja Negra Brands. They bring you premium smoking experiences forged from tobacco, time, and talent. Comprised of Black Label Trading Company, Blackwork Studio, Dissident, and Emilio, Oveja Negra Brands provide smokers uncompromising blends renowned for their flavor and lasting impression. Oveja Negra, where art and tobacco collide. Join the flock. Visit ovejanegracigars.com to learn more. All right. So,
what los números de los muertos?
Here's what we do. I give a number of how many people have died, and I'll give some parameters, and we kind of play a 20 questions.
It's a guessing game. So it's this strange little game we play every week that because there could be, it could be skateboarding or welding, something. It's like 400 people died doing this, 8,000 people died doing that, and it's a strange yet weirdly fun little game we do every week. And we play 20 questions, and our audience members get to put guesses. Get to put guesses in the comments as well. So it's a lot of fun.
Remember, I can always play the card. English is not my language. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. This week's number is 540 a year.
Okay.
So should I guess how they died, those 500 people a year?
And we can throw guesses in along the way. We can, so 540 is that number. So I'll give you an example, Claudio, of guesses that we can give to get closer to the answer. Is that number just in North America, or is it worldwide?
It is global.
Global. 540 people a year die from this in the whole world.
There is a specific period of the year, or it's spread during the year?
No, it is all times of year. And I will say that there are some hot spots. And Claudio, your country of origin is a hot spot.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Of those 500 people that died. Okay. So, people that went in the bush to get figs. You know the fruit?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah. When they fell down from the tree, because they are very, very sweet. So as a little kid in the bush, we were taking the figs from the ground to eat those because they were the sweetest, right? So people get sick and they die from that.
That is a great guess, but not correct.
We have 20 of those questions.
Oh, we'll have a few. We'll get there.
And I'll keep giving clues.
So are these deaths caused by some kind of sport or recreational activity?
No.
Are these deaths caused in the workplace?
No.
I was going to ask that. No.
Not in the workplace.
During recreation time, like entertainment time.
Not specifically. So no.
Is it Women, men, children,
Yes.
all of the above.
All of the above.
All
Um,
ages.
All ages.
Do these deaths take place on land or water?
Mostly on land.
Mostly on land.
Are they using some vehicle like bicycles, bikes, or cars? Or something?
Good question.
Good question.
No.
No vehicles. Do these deaths take place indoors or outdoors mostly?
Yes.
Both.
And what's interesting about Claudio's country, and here's another hint, is these people die because they refuse to move.
They refuse to move.
They refuse to move.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
This. Oh, we got a guess from a viewer here. Chad says horse riding accidents.
Ooh, that's a good one, Chad. No, sir.
Not the answer, though. Good guess.
Horses, Italy, yeah. Yeah, no.
They didn't want to move. So
They
move
didn't?
from a like a city to a town, or
Mm-hmm.
Were these? Does it involve some kind of Does it involve Mother Nature? Some kind of
Yes.
natural disaster?
Yes. Not necessarily disaster.
flooding. Flooding.
What-
Like flooding, when it rains a lot and it floods?
Oh, flooding. No,
No.
not flooding.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're on the right track.
But it's not like storm, like hurricanes or tornadoes or anything like that.
No.
Does it at all involve? Chad says, is it hurricanes?
No.
Not hurricanes.
So
Does
outside and inside, right? So
Outside.
I'm in my place, in my house, and
I would say most of it is outside, but there are places that have been destroyed by this. Homes,
earthquake.
very close, but no.
That gotta be some natural disaster.
So it's close to earthquake, but it's not earthquake.
Correct.
500.
So you said Italy is a hotspot for this?
Yes.
Name
Volcano
one other.
eruption. We have a
Yes.
lot of volcanoes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Nice.
So-
I was thinking volcanoes, but I wasn't. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great guess.
There are two.
We have a lot of volcanoes.
Yeah, and there are two towns in particular where.
Catania
Yes.
with the Etna volcano, and then
Yeah.
we have Volcano, the island of Volcano. It's called the
Yes.
Volcano. Yes.
And
But it's my place, so I know them.
No. And people refuse to move
Mhm.
because they love where they live.
Yeah.
But I want to say like 300 people die a year from those two places in Italy every year.
Yes.
So 300 out of the 540
540
are from those two places.
Correct.
The others
Wow.
are gotta be like Hawaii or Guatemala, lot of volcanoes.
Southeast Asia was the other hot
Yeah.
place.
Oh yes.
And then there's one other volcano that's actually under the ocean that's an active volcano where fishermen die
Oh, really?
if the volcano is active.
And
Wow.
that means really you have no luck in your life. You
Yeah.
and you die by a volcano eruption. Come on.
Well, this is actually interesting. So, Claudio, right after the Nicaraguan Cigar Festival in January of 2018,
Mhm.
when I got home, 2 weeks later, and I don't recall which volcano it was, but one of the volcanoes in Nicaragua had an eruption.
I think a Momotombo.
And
I think.
I think that might be right. And I think 9 people died.
Mm.
Wow.
I think 9 people died in that particular eruption. It was only
Early March.
after I.
Yeah, the first week of March, I've been in Guatemala, to support our Guatemala Mombacho family. for a couple of events around. Beautiful people, and they brought me from Guatemala City to Antigua, and we went through a road where these volcanoes killed hundreds of people 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So we were there. The road were just repaved, and it was still blowing smoke, and we were under the volcano. I was like, guys, I know volcanoes. I was born in Sicily. We have a big volcano, so I've never been beside it, like blowing like it is right now. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah. Well, and for those who have been, we really didn't cover this, but for those who've been watching and listening, Mombacho is, and I think this might be why Garrett chose this topic for this week's Numero de los Muertos, is Mombacho is a volcano in
Granada,
Nicaragua.
Yep.
Yes, the big,
and it's right
big
in Granada.
volcano in Granada that is looking on Granada. It's called Mombacho. Yes.
Yeah.
And then when I saw many of the numbers came from Italy, I was like, "This is perfect."
Yeah.
And you're creepy right now. Like you got.
That's the reaction we offer. Yeah.
That was awesome. You know what? That's awesome.
So that is this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right. So, Claudio, this was a lightning round of fun questions that aren't really cigar related.
Awesome.
So if you could choose to hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Right now?
Yeah, you could hear somebody's thoughts for 10 minutes.
That is living.
Yeah, anybody in the world.
Ingrid Malmsteen.
All
of you guys except you, Matt, you would be like, who's this guy? What's Ingrid Malmsteen? What's that name?
I don't even know.
One of the I learned about him when I was in high school in the 80s.
So I played guitar in my life for a long time, before to step into the cigar industry. Ingrid Malmsteen is the first ever on the history to put the classical music in heavy metal, and he plays guitar, but the only, of course, with a heavy metal style, but the what he plays, it's a purely 100% classical music. So it's mind blowing. If you like classical music, and if you are into heavy metal or the evolution of that.
And he used to play with Frank Zappa back in the late 70s and early 80s, didn't he?
That was Steve Vai. Early 80s. And you know what? Malmsteen, he lives like 10 blocks from my place here.
Are you serious?
I see him many times driving his Ferrari, like, without shirt, with his long hair. He's a crazy guy. Oh, yeah. But you know what? A legend of music.
Oh, yeah. He's got some of the fastest fingers on any guitar player you'll ever see. It's incredible.
Matt, music, the arpeggios that it has electric guitar, they are unbelievable.
Yeah. I'll show you some videos of his. All right. So next question. If you were about to get into a fight, what soundtrack music would come on?
I don't know.
Same answer.
I get into fight. What kind of music would be there during the fight?
So if there's a movie about you and there's about to be a great big fight scene where you're about to start kicking ass, what's the music that's going to come on in the background in that movie to accompany the fight?
Enter Sandman, Metallica.
Oh yes,
Avi, the guy is coming. Watch out for him.
That's the first time somebody's named that song, but that's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yep.
All right, so choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman. You could score a goal in the hockey game as the goalie, or you could score a goal in a soccer game as the goalie.
The second one, the touchdown.
As a
yeah,
NFL,
That's,
are you an NFL fan?
you know why? Because that's the thing that nobody expect that, not even yourself, that you did a touchdown or expect that, and that's my career.
Right.
I have a background of political sciences. I was a musician, and today I'm a master blender. And that's that player that is in the back. They will never touch the ball. I'm not an expert because I'm not from the United States, but that's my idea. The guy never touches the ball. He does a touchdown. So yeah, that one.
That's great.
Love it.
Do you follow NFL football at all? Are you like a Miami Dolphins fan or anything like that?
Not a big sport guy. I like it to watch some football game. It's very, for me, entertaining. All those guys going around like crazy. But live, I think I prefer NBA. I've been in a couple of games, and that's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you watch World Cup?
That's the only sport. Now, let me tell you more. I'm Italian, so I should be about football, not soccer. You call it soccer, but it's called football. Sorry, guys.
Yep. I'm with you.
We can start with that, but it's football. The only football games that I watch, it's once every 4 years, if Italy is competing in the World Cup. Last World Cup, maybe I watched the final. Italy wasn't even there.
Yeah.
F1 racing. Do you get into?
I've been a fan of that. I followed like 3 or 4 seasons, and I've been so lucky in 2014. I smoked a cigar in a balcony, drinking champagne, Matt. Champagne and cigar in a balcony in Monaco on Saturday of the F1. Not Sunday, the race, but on Saturday.
Oh.
Unbelievable, unforgettable experience. Monaco, F1.
Wow. Oh, legendary. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
That's fantastic.
Oh, yes.
All right. So what is the number one piece of advice that you have? Let's say you've got somebody who's brand new to the premium cigar world. They're a brand new consumer. What's the number one piece of advice that you like to give them?
Brand new consumer?
Yeah.
So someone that is just starting to smoke cigars.
Yeah.
First advice. I have a couple of those. Don't smoke the shortest, smallest cigar. Those are sometimes strong, rough. So maybe you can get, not a nice first experience. And then you will say, no, cigars are not for me. No. Try for a Robusto, something mellow, medium. So don't be stuck about the first idea. No, I don't smoke. I want a small cigar. Second, be curious. That's the advice I got. That's why I'm here right now. Be curious about the size, the countries, the brands, but believe in quality. So slowly you will make your choice about quality and blends, but start just as let's have a cigar with a drink. Don't start about like me. Should I smell chocolate and this? Shut the mouth and smoke the cigar. The cigar is trying to tell you something. No, you.
I love that. Shut the mouth and smoke the cigar. I want a T-shirt that says that.
Yes.
Shut the mouth and smoke the cigar. I love that.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to talk about this week's Claudio. Each week we talk about a notable smokable. This is something that Garrett and I have smoked that was interesting to us over the last week. It could be a cigar that's been on the market for 20 years, and it could be a cigar that's brand new, something that we just thought was interesting. And you can certainly, come in with us on this. Obviously, you smoke mostly Mombacho products, but do you find yourself from time to time reaching for cigars that are outside of the Mombacho brand, and is there anything recently that you smoked that you enjoyed that caught your interest?
Of course, because I'm always looking on what's going on in the market. My colleagues, the blends or new tobaccos. So when I see that there is a new tobacco or a wrapper or something very different or for the first time, I always try that. Now I should say with this situation. I haven't been around the cigar shops, so since a little bit I haven't smoked cigars from other brands but I think I have to say, and I'm honest, I smoke in Nicaragua
Yeah.
more and more and more.
Yeah.
Yes. I found that, Nicaragua, it's for my palate, for example, because if you forget my job, okay, not a master blender, I'm a cigar aficionado. I smoke cigars and I enjoy them.
Yeah.
Nicaragua, it's my palate, like it did in 2005, that I was at Davidoff in Geneva, and I smoked for the first time an 100% Nicaraguan tobacco. First time in my life. I was like, oh boy, this is very different.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. My notable this week was actually, so a few weeks ago we had Tim from American Viking Cigars on the show, and live on the show I smoked the one called the Filthy Viking.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it very much. And he also sent the Dama Velada, which I waited a few days to try. Well, maybe it was a little longer, but maybe about a week I waited and I tried that cigar. And I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it, but I definitely would, if just for my palate, and to me, there was a lot more complexity, and I was more interested in the first blend, the Filthy Viking blend.
Right.
I thought it was just for my palate, more interesting and complex. And but the Dama Velada also very good blend, but I enjoyed the Filthy Viking.
You know what? I smoked that a little bit time ago because I know Tim very, very well. And I visited him a couple of times in Arizona. And super nice guy. I love him. He's a true character.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Tim.
Oh, yeah.
My cigar on the 4th of July, I smoked a Zeno.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was kind of a trade piece. Me and another guy traded some cigars, and I had this very nice Zeno Platinum, and I'm just getting into really enjoying the cigar, and then it's time to light fireworks. So we have, it's almost $1,000 worth of cigars, fireworks out, and there's 3 of us that are putting on this fireworks show, and I've got this Zeno Platinum hanging out of my mouth like it's a yard gar as we're lighting all these fireworks. Didn't do the cigar justice, but it was still delicious.
Okay, I said that, Matt, I know Tim about the cigar that you smoked that you liked, and I can tell you now that I know a little bit, Zeno Davidoff, Zeno Platinum, and the guys behind that too. So.
All right. So for viewers and listeners, I want to give you an idea of some stuff we have coming up. So next week is a big week. So next week is July 14th. And it was going to be our big recap show after the trade show was over. But of course, there's no trade show. So we're going to have a big panel discussion with some people from the cigar industry next week. So on July 14th, we have a huge lineup of people on the show. We have Skip Martin from Romacraft. We have John McTavish from Developing Palates. We have Charlie Minato from Half Wheel. And we have Abe DeBabna from Smoke Inn. So we have media, people from cigar media. We have somebody who owns a cigar brand. And we have somebody who is one of the biggest cigar retailers in the country. And we want to talk about, obviously, there's no trade show to cover. So we're going to talk about sort of the current state of the cigar industry, what it means to the cigar industry to not have a trade show right now, and what everybody's thoughts are moving forward, going into the rest of 2020 and into 2021 and beyond. So tune in next Tuesday night, the 14th, big show. We have good stuff coming up after that as well. So Claudio, give our viewers and listeners that final idea. Where's the best place where they can get up-to-date info on Mombacho Cigars?
So about cigars, about everything about Mombacho, the history, and everything our cigars, check mombachocigars.com. We're going to have the full experience, full lineup of all our cigars available there too. And, we have a beautiful 4.5 minutes documentary that we made 3 years ago when we had our 10th anniversary. And then, of course, check us on Instagram, Mombacho Cigars, Facebook, Mombacho Cigars. And, you type Mombacho Cigars Granada, man, that Casa Favili pictures are going to pop it up.
Yeah, yeah. Claudio,
Awesome.
we had a blast talking to you tonight. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Guys, I had a ton of fun. I love this, and I have to thank you because through this podcast and Zoom meetings and all that stuff, you guys, you give us the opportunity, to expose our brand, but as well to make a little bit of more education. Because I always believe the education is the key point of enjoying more. So thank you for that. Keep the good job. Matt, I missed you. I saw you last time in 2018. Awesome T-shirt, by the way. I didn't say that. Oh, yeah. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio.
All right. So viewers and listeners, thanks again. Always, if you have a second, go to howaboutthatcigar.com, sign up for the email list. You'll get all the latest information. If you have any questions for Garrett or myself, you can also email us directly from there. And until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
Not bridges.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.